Hello and welcome to episode 147 of Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Antony and joining me this week, it's the other spark on the pod, a man who changes his controllers as often as he changes his socks. It's Mr. Stuart Burgess. Hello, sir. How you doing?
Good evening, young sir. Yes, I can honestly say I probably own more controllers than socks, but that's enough about my personal hygiene.
You've got a controller drawer and then a sock drawer, and it's just like...
Well, the controllers are kept away from the house because I don't think I've got enough room for them, so they are merrily sitting up at the office waiting for me to do something with them. But every day goes past where I look at my news feeds hoping that Microsoft has not... launched another controller of some sort. So I've calmed down lately and haven't purchased one in a while. So let's hope that stays like that for a while more.
Did you not order that lovely sport red one that came out yesterday?
No. I'm not as bad as every controller.
Right.
Basically, I do have a rule. I do have a set rule in my life. One of my set rules. I'll only buy it if it's associated with a game.
Oh,
so
cool.
like the Sea of Thieves one, like the Call of Duty, I think Titanfall. So if it's just like, you know, a Black Widow Red or something like that, then generally I'll leave it. I did buy the... I can't think of what it's called now, the Shadow something the I bought that one the other day. That was actually for my Oculus Rift to use on my gaming PC, and that was quite a nice looking controller. But no, I have a rule. If it's associated with a game, which I think the last one was PUBG, then I'll get it. If it isn't, then I won't. Although I do sometimes hate Microsoft for showing me the American feed where they do all the special editions that we can't enter over here, and then like the Australian PUBG one with the greaseproof one, I think they called it. I've been trying to pick that up, but I can't find that anywhere. Love for money. So I've got enough at the moment. I'm perfectly happy with the. Actually, I don't know how many I've got. I'm gonna say 15 that I own. That's good enough for me.
Superb.
So no more for the minute. I'm running out of room.
And when are they all going to be framed? I guess everybody's kind of wanting to know what's the update on the demo room.
This is starting to get embarrassing now.
We were going to have it for Forza Horizon. That was November.
Yeah, just the Forza Horizon 5. Yeah. I said 5. No, it is literally it's pretty much done.
Oh wow!
I'm waiting on. It's all painted. It's all decorated. I'm waiting on the carpet fitters to come put the carpet in, and then it's a case of just putting all the equipment
nice.
in. So there's just two things I'm waiting on other people, which I'm hoping imminent. But literally on Monday I'm starting a 15-seater cinema down in Wadhurst, just south of Tunbridge Wells.
Wow.
So
is that in a house? Is that in a house?
Yeah. That's a house. Yeah, basement. Guys having originally the house was going to be underpinned, and then it was going under the house. But now they decided to move it, sort of dig in the garden, and then do an extension to the kitchen and a bit of a patio, and then basically the wine store. Yeah. And the cinema is down there, so that's a 15-seater, 150-inch cinematic screen. So a 2:3:5 ratio with side masking. So when it changes ratio, the side masks come in. Think it's going to be a Sony 4K laser projector as well, and then a full Dolby Atmos system. So not over the top, as I say that people are probably going, what? That's well over the top. It's not over the top in what the terms are, but it's going to be a stonking cinema. Really, really good little cinema.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. That sounds amazing. You know, to just kind of go to the end of your garden or wherever it's going to be, and then just be there with 50. You wouldn't have to go to the cinema, would you? With that kind of.
Oh no. No, I mean, you basically, for these guys, they'll literally walk downstairs from their kitchen family room, and they'll go past their wine store and be able to pick out a cheeky Merlot, open up the door to their cinema and go sit in their cinema, pick up the remote control and go, watch movie, and then, they'll have whatever, their Kaleidoscope, their Blu-ray, their Apple TV, whatever they want, Sky Q, just sit down there and play. But it's going to be a real family room. They're not going stupid on seating costs and things like that. So it's going to be a room that the grandkids will be let in. They'll use, so it's a real family social space rather than just a 15-seater cinema for one bloke sitting in the middle of it.
Yes. Are you going to put an Xbox in there? More importantly, bring it back to the pod.
Yeah, I suppose it's a gaming show, isn't it? Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely put an Xbox in there because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know, it's got so many. It has Atmos, it has the 4K Blu-ray player in it. Okay, we probably won't use that as the player, but just being able to, you know, use it as the console. The AV cupboard is right next to the room, so we shouldn't have any issues with controller issues. But I'm running a fiber HDMI league, so we could locate it under the screen out of sight if we need to bring it into the room. Right. But yeah, I'll certainly be giving it a very good go through by taking one of my Xboxes down there and, you know, playing some games which are coming out in the next, I'd probably say 3-4 months when it will be ready. So we'll be into the middle of the year already.
Nice. Sounds amazing. That sounds really cool. So what else have you been up to? As we just said just before we went to pod, it's been almost 2 months since you've been on the pod last. So what have you been up to, Steve?
I've been up to loads of things, but I think the most relevant for the show is myself and my one of my colleagues, Simon, went out to the Integrated Systems Europe show, ISE, out of Amsterdam. Yeah. So we went out there and Airbnb'd it for 3 days in the centre of Amsterdam, and basically went to his largest sort of electronic show in the world, but actually it's a trade show. So anybody who knows CES is the Consumer Electronics Show, which is generally open to anybody. The ISE, which is Integrated Systems Europe, is open to the trade, and it has a mixture of, you know, smart home, my sort of world, but it also does sort of like digital signage, and it sort of covers everything you can imagine, from drones to, you know, to projectors to digital signage. So went there, got to see some amazing stuff. Got to see probably relevant for our industry and for the show. Got to see LG's awesome rolling OLED TV.
Yes.
They had that as I think they had 3 in a row on both sides, so lots of people could look at it. But they were sort of coming up and down, and they had screens behind that where they were sort of interacting with them. But that just looked amazing. That just looked amazing. They had some digital signage stuff there, sort of some see-through OLEDs for you know, so you could basically put it in a shop window so you could see through the screen and see what's behind it, like the watch collection or whatever. Yeah. And then they had a gorgeous curved sort of wall. It looked like it'd come out of CES, which was a gorgeous curved wall, sort of going from floor to ceiling, where they were just showing, you know, fancy graphics on there. So that was really good. Got to see Samsung's The Wall, which was their modular wall that is basically same as Sony's one was there as well, where you basically buy the modules, you put them together, and you create the size TV you want at the resolution you want. So Sony, not to be outdone with, put up. I don't actually know how big it was, but I'm gonna say something like 10 meters by 25 meters.
Wow.
I took some footage on my DJI Osmo Pocket in 4K. It didn't do it justice.
Wow.
It was standing there watching Gran Turismo on it was just unbelievable.
Yes.
But you know, residential, no problems. That screen, they estimated it would cost a client £4.5 million to put it in their residence.
Wow.
But they're saying that they can do 100 at the moment. They're saying they could do 130 21.9, so cinema screen for about $250,000.
Wow.
So, but you know, that's a lot of money. But then if we put it back to the Pioneer Curos back in the day, you know, £25,000-30,000 for a 40-inch plasma. So as they make more, the price will come down. We've seen it with OLEDs. You know, as LG have made more, sold them to Sony, sold them to Panasonic, the prices have come down on the TV. Yeah. So that's certainly interesting. So no, got to see some great stuff there. Got to see some very good stuff, which unfortunately I can't talk about because it's under NDA. But yeah, it was. It was. Sorry about that. Very, very, very nice stuff. But it was, it was a good show. Got to see lots of friends. Got to drink lots of beer, some very nice beer as well. Eat some nice barbecue food, and come back feeling slightly bloated with sore feet. So yeah, all in all, a great 3 days.
That's how you measure it's a good show, don't you? If you come back kind of, full, a bit slightly haggard, and kind of sore feet. That sounds like a perfect show. That sounds so cool.
Yeah,
I mean, those photos
really
that
good.
you sent of that screen, I just loved it. That guy just kind of sitting in front of that Gran Turismo. I just wonder, imagine playing something like Star Wars Battlefront or anything. It'd just be absolutely incredible. I just thought it looked amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's just it's going to change our industry in respect of the projector side of things. Maybe not so much everyday TV, because people are already saying that they want a smaller OLED. So I know that this year, I think they're going to release some 49-inch OLEDs, because people are sort of saying 55 is still too big for some people's lounges.
Right, interesting.
I think for us, this job we're just about to start, we're putting a 155-inch side masking screen in there with a laser projector at the back.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, let's give it 5-10 years maybe. We potentially might not need the projector. We'll actually be building the guy a modular screen to the size, the resolution that he wants. And it will be as bright and vibrant as an OLED screen. It's modular, but you really... When the screen went black, you had to look at it from the side, and then you could see the lines between the modules.
Right.
But when the picture was on, you really could not see the lines. I think that's going to be interesting in the private cinema sector. I think that the Samsung's sort of like micro LED, the OLED is still what's going to be relevant in the residential sector for the foreseeable future with normal TVs, how we can hide them.
Yeah. Oh, sounds amazing. Like I say, that picture was absolutely incredible. I just imagine just sitting there kind of playing something. I was just like, oh, that just looks so good. It just looks so good. Oh, that's superb. No, I mean, it's quite interesting to say about size. I mean, I'm still looking for that kind of smaller TV, the smaller kind of 4K HDR TV. Every now and then I'll have a look on Amazon or look around and I'll see a monitor or I'll see a screen that is just HDR, but it's not 4K. And it's just like, it's going to come. I know it's going to come, but it's just waiting for my smaller 4K while Nicola plays on the big one.
I'll be honest with you, every time I listen to like AV Forum's podcast, or I listen to a podcast of some sort, and they talk about new ranges of TVs, I could just imagine you sitting there listening to it going, please, just go a bit smaller.
35.
A bit smaller would be really nice. Yeah. There'll be a day when I get my order for this fantastic new, Sony modular or Samsung modular TV, and it'll be like, can I have 3 panels by 2, please?
Yeah, that's it.
I want a little TV to put on my wall in my little cupboard.
Absolutely. It kind of pains me sometimes, because I was saying to Nicola the other day, I was like, if we'd have thought about this properly and kind of, because we both game, we were playing Crackdown 3, which I'll get to in a moment, and I was just sitting there thinking, we both game a lot, we could have easily have just kind of put 2 55s or, and a push, maybe even 2 65s next to each other in that room, and just had them as our gaming room rather than kind of, and then so we go down there to game. So, but that would just mean kind of with the living room would be kind of more of the movie watching, unless you dropped a monitor, dropped a screen down to kind of mask it. But it was just like, I was kicking myself slightly. But, it's awesome when I do get to play on the big screen, kind of in the mornings or late at night, or as I have done in a couple of weeks' time, booked it out for the Division, especially as at the moment Nicola's kind of she's addicted to Defense Grid on the Switch, so
really?
That's fine. Yeah, so that's just she's still kind of playing that and going through that, so that's cool.
Why can I now imagine that there's an iPad on the wall out at the bottom of your stairs outside your movie room? There's an iPad with 2 buttons on it. One is kitchen and one is a movie room. And on there, it takes you straight to a calendar where you can both book out whether who's in the kitchen cooking or who's in the gaming room on the big TV this week.
I've literally got it in the calendar. Division 2, big TV. It's there. I've booked it. I'm ready to go. So yeah, though she's fine with that kind of like I say, we've got another Xbox upstairs on the next. We've got an S upstairs on the next one. So there's plenty plenty of Xboxes to play around the house. So yeah. So anything else that you've been up to apart from that? That's probably awesome enough, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I've been off up to loads of bits and pieces with work, general bits and pieces. I've just set up a football league, a weight loss football league.
Yeah.
You know, with some people locally. You know, who we were playing in another one, but because we didn't like the way that was heading, we've set up our own. So that's now means that I'm now doing something else with my life as well as running 2 businesses. You know, like I have enough time to do those,
Yes.
let alone do.
You
a
don't
third
want a
one
game
as well,
at
so.
all, I guess. You do.
Oh,
You know, you
oh no, well. Well, when I looked at you, as we get on to, I looked at your list and I'm like, haven't tried that. Yeah, I did try that a little bit. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I haven't tried that either. And it's just like, but that's because I've got sucked into one game, which has really sucked up my life. But no, not really. What about yourself? Apart from dying of a cold, how have you been lately?
Hey, it wasn't just a cold; it was proper flu and laryngitis. I'll have you know. Yeah, I mean, apologies for no pod last week, but I was Stuart and I we were due to do a pod, but I was just so ill. I was just so, and I tell you what, it was really funny because I think I may have been talking to the WhatsApp group or chatting to Manny. I think I might have been chatting to Manny while we were playing Division, and I was saying that I'd love to be ill. You know, I've got a big stack of games. I've got a big stack of movies that I want to watch. You know, digital stack of both of those. And I just was like, you know what? I'd love to be ill for like a week and just catch up with it. Well, I was ill, and I was so ill that I couldn't lift a controller. I couldn't even listen to TV. It's really weird. At one point throughout this kind of hazy sickness that I had, I was sitting there. The only time I could really listen to TV was through headphones, because normal kind of trying to watch a movie, it was just too loud. So even when I had it like low, it just felt too loud, and the sound was really weird. So I just kept putting my headphones on and watching it. But I watched no new movies. I ended up watching things like You Got Mail, Batman versus Superman. You know, just kind of, and even those, I'd fall asleep, and you know, suddenly Tom Hanks is in Batman versus Superman because I just fell asleep through one, and then the other one had come on, and I was just honestly, I was. Nicola said that she'd never seen me that ill before, and I was so ill. And I didn't, I mean, I was off work kind of like Thursday, Friday. Over that weekend, I just stayed under a duvet. You know, I could not move. I had no energy, and it was horrible. But I kept trying to play a game, but I just kept falling asleep. I was just like so I'd be playing Forza, and then next thing, like, you just crash into a wall or something. And it was just, it was horrible. It was horrible. But you know, I'm getting better. I'm still kind of. My throat's still sore. I'm sure it'll be sore by the end of the pod. My throat's still sore. But yeah. But one movie I did watch while I was off, the one new movie that I did watch while I was off, was a really cool movie called Overlord. And Overlord is it's produced by Bad Robot, which is J.J. Abrams' company. But Julius Avery was the director, and it's set in France in World War II, and it's kind of like on the eve of D-Day, and these paratroopers have got to get into this fort in Germany. And so they kind of get in, and things happen, and it's quite graphic at the start. And they kind of land in this small little town in France, and then they have to. And the town's very weird, and it's all very weird. And they realise that what they've stumbled across is where the Germans were doing experiments. So they were doing experiments, and it transpires that there's zombies, and there's just
good old zombie movie.
and it's just so good. You know, it really does feel like. And the reason why I'm mentioning it is it really does feel like a video game. You know, as I was playing it kind of really felt like, right, okay, we've got to get here, we've got to get that, we've got to do this, you know, we've got to get to the switch to de-scramble so that the D-Day landing can land, you know, all that sort of stuff. And it really played out like a video game. Fantastic movie. I really enjoyed it. But it really played out like a video game. There was lots of there were bits where they were stealthily trying to go around this chateau, and then they got seen. And so then there was just hordes and hordes of German soldiers, and it really did just play out like a Call of Duty expansion. It was really good. It's called Overlord. And it's got a couple of people that you may recognise from other TV programmes like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and things like that. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I just thought it was worth a mention. I think it's out now on iTunes. I think I got it on iTunes. So, and it's very cool.
I'll have to have a look. I did actually. One thing I just remember talking about movies. I had a Saturday and a Saturday and an overnight where I was home alone, and I was going to sort of jump on. I think it was the weekend of the Anthem beta, so I sort of jumped in and played a little bit of that. But I thought, I'm going to sit down and watch 2 movies because I've been sort of stockpiling my films, and Apple had a sale about a month or so ago where they were just doing stuff so cheap it was ridiculous. So I sat down and watched Mission Impossible Fallout, which I quite enjoyed, but part of me was like, okay, I'm not enjoying this as much as I would on a big screen, so I watched it, enjoyed it. But I tell you what, I bought it and I watched it in the morning, and I know it took a lot of money, but I wasn't sure whether I'd like it. And I absolutely loved it, which was Venom. I really enjoyed Venom.
Right.
I know. I mean, it took, I think, 855 million as taken total, so it's a good movie. But yeah, I just really liked it. I just thought the play between Venom and the I can't think of his name.
Tom Hardy.
Character.
Tom Hardy's character.
Tom Hardy. I thought the sort of playfulness between Venom and that, where it's talking in his head and things like that, I thought that was quite comical. And yeah, I could see that the story was probably a little bit weak, and but I really enjoyed it. I mean, have you seen it?
I have. Yeah, we watched it. We didn't see it at the cinema. We watched it at home, and I'm the same as you. Like I say, that kind of, it's Eddie Brock, isn't it? Eddie Brock is the Venom character. So do you know what? At the end of that movie, I wanted to watch another Venom movie. Because the way it finishes, the way it kind of ended, that was it for me. I was like, I would happily, Venom 2, give that to me now. I was very much kind of, like I say, it was very much that origin story. It had good and bad bits, but at the end, I didn't want it to end, because when he's kind of like, I won't spoil it, but when he's kind of, he's full Venom at the end, at that point, I was just like, just keep giving. But it's almost like the last 45 minutes of that movie, I just wanted another hour, because I was now in my happy Venom place.
That's it, and I say, not giving it away, but the way it sort of, the way it ended, and you sort of, and it's sort of no one quite knew, and it carried on, and you're just like, and then I nearly did WhatsApp you afterwards, because in the cutscene where he went to the place and saw that character, the actor's character, I nearly Googled you to say, I need to text you and said, who's that person supposed to be? But I ended up Googling it and finding out who that person was supposed to be. Because I thought, well, do I IMDb it, or do I go to Antony Chesson IMDb instead? But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. And then obviously after because it had 2 cutscenes.
It did indeed.
The final cutscene was Spider-Man into the Spideyverse thing, which I've not seen it, but I have pre-ordered it on Apple TV to watch. But no, I just, I've got to get back into Marvel, because I'm behind a few films. I've still not seen the last Avengers yet.
What?
Because I've got, I know.
You haven't seen Infinity War?
No, I've not seen Infinity War.
Oh my God, I just want to hang up right now. I just want to...
But this is what brings it back to my whole thing of, I was stockpiling films thinking this time last year that I'd have a demo room very soon.
Understandable.
And I have got a demo room. She's still in its boxes that it came in.
Yes.
But it's little things like, I've got to catch up with like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Wonder Woman, Black Panther. I've still not purposely seen those.
My face right now is just like...
He's got really angry people. He's
almost
like swearing at me.
I'm dumbfounded more than angry. I'm just like, I've got this blank expression on my face. But no, I totally know where you're coming from, because when I was off sick, there was a couple of movies that I wanted to watch. I've got them on Blu-ray and I wanted to watch them. I wanted to pop them in, but it was just like, no, I don't want to watch it. And then when I went upstairs to bed, I was like, I'll watch it on my... I was like, no, I don't want to watch it on my... I want to watch it on the big TV. Yeah. And you're right, you do go, no, I want to watch this when I'm fully compass mentis, and I want to watch it on the big TV. I want to watch it on the big screen. So I totally get that crazy place where your head is right now. But my God, you need a big bucket of popcorn and some time alone in that room.
I know. I'm literally just sort of like it's anytime someone says something about the next one coming out, or I was listening to, what was I listening to today? I was listening to something, and they were talking about Captain Marvel, and I can't think what it was now, but they're talking about Captain Marvel. Of course, they were saying a few things, and as they're saying it, my finger is literally hovering over the mute button because I'm like, if they start mentioning anything about Avengers or anything about any of the others. So, no, I do really enjoy those films, but I want to enjoy it at 90 decibels, kicking and vibrating the seats. I mean, okay, yeah, I'm lucky like you. I've got nice big TV, but I know the other side, and I know how good it will look on the other side, and the surprise I get from watching it on the big screen in the demo room, because I just can't do cinemas. I just can't do. Oh, actually, that brings me on to the subject. You did the Leicester Square, didn't you? You went to Leicester Square.
I did indeed.
Odeon, didn't
yes.
you? Yeah, sat in the royal boxes.
I did indeed. They did tell me. They went, these are the best seats in the house. So I drunk that up like Kool-Aid. I was like, yes. So I was like row A, right in the middle.
Take my money.
Yeah, exactly.
Take my money.
It was like when they were seating us, they were like, these are the best seats, and I was like, thank you very much. But yeah, so we were there in there because you pay £60 for your seat, but that's for 2 seats. So it's kind of really it's still expensive. It's £30 per seat, but it's for 2 seats. So 2 recliners. They have multiple reclining as well. So it's legs and back are kind of individual. You've got 2 buttons, so it's quite nice. We watched Alita Battle Angel, and it was so loud. It was so loud. It was so loud that it was like just rumbling in my chest. And Nicola thought that was all part and parcel of it. She thought it was a bit like a 4D cinema because it was just like so loud. But it was fantastic. It's still not as good as X Plus. I still, especially after, I don't know if I've told you this story, I don't know, but I turned up at the cinema. It was on my birthday. I turned up at the cinema. And I was like, right, my normal staple. I was like, I'll have a drink. They have a drinks machine and a bucket of sweet popcorn, please. And they were like, we don't have any sweet popcorn. I was like, what do you mean you don't have any sweet popcorn? I was like, why wouldn't you have any sweet popcorn? And I said, well, have you sold out? She goes, no, we don't serve sweet popcorn. We just serve salted popcorn and artisan popcorn, such as Parmesan, truffle, and raspberry. So at this point, I'm just like, so I said to Nicola, I said, you get something for you. I'll probably be fine. So they went, here you go. Here's the menu. This is in the middle of Leicester Square. So Nicola got some nachos and she got a drink and stuff, and I just thought, I can't sit through this movie, a popcorn movie, without popcorn. So I walked out of Odeon. I told James this last week. I walked out of Odeon, went over to the VUE. I went, I'll have the biggest bucket of sweet popcorn that you have, please. And then they came in a bucket of popcorn, VUE emblazoned on the box, and I just walked in like a boss. Yeah. With a big old grin on my face. And I just thought, if one of you say, sorry sir, you can't bring this in here, you'll be wearing this. So as this guy showed us to our seats, he just like looked at the VUE box and just smiled at me. He just kind of like, he just laughed. And I felt like, you don't serve sweet popcorn. But, so I just sat there enjoying my sweet popcorn. It's a fab cinema. It's potentially still a little bit too big. It's a little bit, where we were was great, in this royal area, and I'm sure other sides is good as well. But it just feels too big, and the screen is too small. It's like all kind of. So for me, this Saturday, 10 o'clock, I will be in my normal seat at the X Plus in Bluewater watching Captain Marvel, and I still feel that cinema is the perfect cinema for me right now. If they would just turn the speech up 2 notches, it would be absolutely perfect.
And is that because it's a smaller cinema with a slightly bigger screen, or it feels more immersive?
It feels so more immersive. It's like a 65-foot screen. It's Dolby Atmos. You feel... When I was at the Leicester Square one, the sound was amazing, but I felt like I was at a cinema watching something, where when you're reclined and you can't see anyone, and the screen is as big as it's as wide as a cinema and as tall as a cinema, you just feel so immersed in that movie. And that's what you want when you go into the cinema. So, the Leicester Square one's fantastic. That screen one is great, but it still feels like you're in a cinema. It just kind of funnels it down, and it could have done with just being maybe just a little bit smaller and a little bit more kind of grander with the screen. If they went if they went as big with the screen as they did with the amazing sound, that I would be going to Leicester Square for all of my movies. But for me, X Plus is still kind of that number one.
I think you'll find it, because I think I know Odeon have test benched it there. I think they've just announced they're going to do another one.
Yeah, Leeds, isn't it?
Because
by Steve.
Oh, yes, true. Yeah, it's when you go to the States, Dolby Cinema, so that is Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. They're not 10 to a penny, but they're a lot more.
Right.
Where where that Odeon is the only certified Dolby Cinema in the UK that a customer could go to. And yeah, they've spent millions on it. So they basically have invested into that to get there, to see if it's going to happen and get their money back. I just hope that some of the more boutique cinemas, like around here we have the Kino cinemas. They have two locally, and in Hastings there's a Sussex Exchange. And I think the problem is that I don't mean to be disrespectful to them, but they are glorified surround sound systems. When what I can put in a client's house is 10 times better than what you can get in a small boutique cinema. And I think it's because the entry point to have a Dolby certified cinema is actually quite expensive. I mean, I don't know what the Odeon is, but I know I went to one to watch the original Deadpool when I was out at IC a few years ago. And the projectors alone were £1 million each, and there was two of them.
Yeah.
So it's £2 million on projection before you've put any audio in there or the screen.
Wow.
So, I think it will come. Let's just hope it comes sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Like I say, it was fantastic. It was a great experience. It was incredibly loud, but I like that. It was quite nice, just kind of rocking. You did feel it in your chest with the big bassy booms. But for me, like I say, X Plus at the weekend, I'm really looking forward to Captain Marvel, and just kind of you really should check those out. You should check out both of them, because X Plus, especially X Plus Screen 15, I think it is, in Bluewater, that's the big one. Screen 14 or 15, whatever one I'm going to see on Saturday. That's the big one, and that is amazing. And it still bummed me out. We had we paid £60 for those seats. We still had someone sitting next to us talking. Because you're in London midweek. You're in London midweek. We also had a group, a outing from work that were in there, and they're all kind of gin and tonicked up, and it was just like, oh my god, why, why, so.
Exactly. That's why that's it. Your story about popcorn. I would have been happier if they didn't sell popcorn. My philosophy is you're going to sit and watch a movie for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Eat beforehand. Why do you have to eat in a cinema when I'm sitting there trying to watch a film?
Yeah.
So for me, food in a cinema is just like, forget it. I don't want it, but. That's like sweets in a petrol station. That's where they make their money. They make their money on the food, because they make very little on the movie. The same as a petrol station makes very little on petrol, because it's all tax. And they make money on the coffee that you can get in there, or the pastries you can buy in there. But yes, that's why. I'm suddenly feeling more enthused to finish my Denver one off. And actually, it's not going to be cheap, but we're hoping that Kaleidoscape, which is a movie server that you can get for your cinema, we're hoping that they're doing day and date content as well soon.
Wow!
So
wow!
It could be like up to £200 a movie per watch.
Yeah.
What? But actually. Yeah, £200 per movie per watch. But that's actually quite cheap compared to what some of the others what are currently going will pay. But, you could do that, if you've got the money to afford a private cinema, hey, 200 quid to say to your mates, look, don't go to the Odeon and watch that film, come round to my house and watch it. It's those bragging rights between you and your friends sort of thing. That's not for me, and I would never pay that, but that hopefully is the way things will go forward, where we'll start to get. We've seen it with Sky Movies. Movies are released on Sky. The same day as they're coming up to cinema for people who don't have Sky.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's going to start on the antiquated way that the movie studios rely so much on box office. Hopefully that will step back a bit and they'll start relying on that. that revenue they can get from being day and date streaming on services and things like that.
Yeah, there's always been that tease, hasn't there? There's always been that tease of like kind of, I mean, I would be happy with a couple of weeks in the cinema and then come out kind of at a home release, for a bit of a premium, not £200, but a bit of a premium. I'd be happy with that, because like I say, the last couple of cinema trips that I've been to, they have just been, phones and screaming babies and guys being next to us just talking, and it was so loud that in the Dolby, it was so loud that the guy was actually kind of shouting to his date, who was young enough to be his daughter. He was shouting, and he was just trying to be funny all the time. It was like, oh, it looks like she's running out of batteries, but saying it really obnoxious. Yeah. And because he was sitting next to Nicola and not next to me, I kept hearing this sound, and I was like, what is that? Is that mixed into one of the speakers? I can't. And it turned out to be this really idiot. But anyway, enough about that.
We digress. This is a gaming
it
podcast.
Always happens when Stuart and I will just talk about movies either at the start or at the end. So, Stuart, it's a gaming podcast. What have you been playing, sir?
Nothing. I've been too busy.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't got time to play anything.
I've been. I got to admit, actually, sadly, I did go for about 3 weeks where I played absolutely nothing because I was so busy that I was just getting back from work and I was just chucking on Netflix and I was watching Daredevil,
right,
and I was really sort of doing that. So I got into that. But anyway, I have started picking up the controller. Last weekend, because I think it came out last week, I jumped into the brilliantly frustrating, and I think they should put that on the box, Trials Rising.
Nice.
I do love the Trials games, but I think, like you said over the weekend, you get to like level 15 and then you just can't do anything.
No.
And actually, I haven't played a Trials game for a while, so I can't remember the format they were in, or I can remember the format, but this is quite good. They seem to have, they've introduced the academy, so you start where you're in North America, you get a map of North America, and then you get your normal races, then you get some stadium races where you're doing the 4 or 5 side by side, and you go down, quarterfinals, semi-finals, things like that. Then you do these contract ones where it says, you've got to beat this person, or you've got to backflip 5 times or front flip 4 times. And then they've introduced the academy, which I've sort of toyed a bit, but I can remember when it was E3 last year when they said that they were going to bring in this sort of tutorial,
yes,
and some of the people that do sort of the esports side of it, and they were going to bring in a tutorial side of it. So actually, that's quite good. They sort of go, well, okay, look, you've got to learn about applying a little bit of throttle and leaning forward and leaning back. So it sort of starts off with 101, that's the basic things to learn. So, you're doing things very slowly, like you would do on your motorbike test. And then as you go up in the game, you unlock new things. So it will teach you how like when you're going up a ramp, you should lean forward, and when you're going down, you should lean back. And so I sort of toyed on that, and I think I've got up to level sort of 21 now.
Oh,
wow. So you unlock a new bike at 14, and then I think you unlock it at 40, and then there's one of your first achievements is at a level 50. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Graphically, it's stunning. It looks really good. It's very much Trials, of old, but just a bit more sparkly, a bit more Xbox One X-ish. So yeah, it's that. For me, it's itching that Forza itch. It's that, when I just want to pick up something on a Saturday morning, or I just want to play something for 20 minutes, before we have tea in the evening. It's just scratching that itch.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really good. I recommend people. I think the gold edition was only £35 with all the downloadable content. So it's not a stupidly expensive game. So I think even if you just wait for it for a few months, wait till you get some money on your Microsoft account. Yeah, it's really worth it.
I think the base edition's $19.99 as well, isn't it? Without all of the additional content.
Something like that, yeah.
So.
But yeah, I mean, really worth jumping into.
Sounds good. Like I say, I used to, when Trials first came out, I loved it. I just loved it so much. It was just so much fun. And when they introduced like leaderboards and stuff, that always kind of adds that element of, and especially being able to see someone else's kind of shadow, you know, being able to see their run and being able to kind of just follow them and see how they're doing. And if they suddenly got out in front and they're ghost, then you would just restart the level and just kind of hit that. Do they still have that ability to be able to, if you do mess up, you still got the ability to just one button and you're kind of restarting the level?
Yeah, so the ghost is still there. So basically, it does pop up on the sort of world map if someone's done a faster time than you.
Right.
So you sort of got three levels of medal, and then if you get silver, then it will say, look, to get a gold, you need to do it in this time. And it does say, you know, look at the ghosts, watch the ghosts, you know, because little things like you'll see the ghosts are not jumping so high and things like that.
Yes.
So yeah, they still do the ghost inside of things. They still do the leaderboards. I mean, I think I put a picture up on WhatsApp, which was it comes up, one of the first things it asks you when you start up, it says, do you want to accept crossplay or cross statistics? I don't think it's crossplay.
Right.
But it says, you know, you will be your leaderboard will be cross platform with other devices such as other consoles and computers. So it looks like the leaderboards are sort of cross play. I don't think there's actual console cross play, but no, it is. It holds your hand, it pushes you, it's frustratingly awesome. And there was a few times that the dog got up and walked out of the room because I'd be like almost slamming my fist on the footstool, going, "Why, damn you? Why? I've done that jump perfect the last 12 times, and this time I need you. It won't let me do it, and I keep on backflipping." And it'll be, and then you just you rage quit, you know. And unfortunately, with the Xbox, once you rage quit, you can go back into it in a similar type of rage and carry on where you left off because it carries on. Yes. So no, it's very, very good. I recommend anybody who's had Trials before plays it. It's a very good game.
That sounds so cool. And then the other Ubisoft title. You've been very much a Ubisoft boy this week.
I know, it's how every time I switch my console on lately, I'm like, oh, I'll play that. And I see Ubisoft, it's like, I think I should get shares in this company. Yeah, no surprise. I can't remember, what was my game of the year? My game of the year was Assassin's Creed.
It was, yeah, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think.
So I carried on playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've not put it on the list, but I've got into that. It's so big. I have got a little bit of fatigue with it just lately.
Right.
So, but I think that's my own detriment because I think I've been doing too many of the side missions.
Right.
And I think when you listen to like the Kind of Funny guys who were raving about it, I think listening to them, you hear that they've mainly stuck to the main mission because you just can't do the side mission. Where I'm a bit like your wife, where I won't carry on unless I've completed everything in that designated area.
Yes.
And I think to my detriment, that's given me a little bit of fatigue with the game.
Right.
But so I've been playing that. But the other game on the list was Far Cry New Dawn. Yeah, already my game of the year. I know I've not played a lot this year, but just picks up from where Far Cry left off. First of all, you don't need to play the first game.
Right, okay. That was going to be one of my questions.
You really don't need to play it. You don't need to play it. You don't need to finish it. I think most people know one of the endings, which obviously this picks up from. I could say it because it's obvious. One of the endings was a nuclear apocalypse, and this picks up from it down the line. And yeah, it just... I think when you've been playing it, I suppose it's one of those games where you see those little nods and those little gestures to the original, obviously, which was only last year. But what I've liked about it is it gives me the same awesome that I had in Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
It looks stunning, on the X on a 4K TV. But it just introduced that little thing like, you have basic weapons, like your entry amateur weapons, which are sort of the rusty ones that I got left over from before.
Yeah.
But you can make weapons, like you can make a gun which shoots blades out of a circular saw.
Oh, wow.
And things like that. So there's some funky stuff where, like, rather than having a knife on the front of a rifle, you've got a screwdriver. So arcing back to the World War I, World War II guns.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sort of picks up. the main protagonists are two twins. There are some touches back to some of the people you saw in the old game, a lot of friendly faces, which again, you don't need to know. There's references from one of the characters of the Mars DLC, but again, you don't need to know it. But what I quite liked about it was, you'd be roaming around and you'd be like, this is that. Oh, that's that garage that you took over when you took it over from them. But now it's covered in sand and flowers, and it's just nice. It's nice the way they've used the same map, condensed it a little bit, and it feels very familiar.
Oh, wow.
It's a really good game. I think if you've played it and completed Far Cry 5, definitely play it. I think if you've not completed Far Cry 5 or you haven't played Far Cry 5, don't miss out on it. It's a great game, and it's not a full price game. So I think, like Trials, if you're thinking about it, wait a little while and then jump in. But I've probably done 25, 30 hours so far.
Wow, that's really good. That's really good.
Yeah, and loving it. Loving every minute of it. It's one of those classic games where you're not playing it, you're thinking about playing it.
Oh, that's so cool. Is there any kind of, did you unlock anything for completing the original game, for like playing through the original game? Did it give you was there any kind of nods for completing that? Like you got special skins or anything like that?
I don't think so,
no.
No.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
I might be wrong, but no, I don't think... No, I don't think you did. I certainly didn't notice anything flying up. I noticed my Ubisoft Club stuff, come up because I registered for that, or I've done that for the masses of Ubisoft games that I play. And there are other parties out there, but no, I don't think there is. But there are some nice nods to some of the characters you meet along the line. Some of the people that you get brought into your roster as the people you play with.
Right.
And what's quite nice is, although they're still a little bit glitchy, they're a little bit trigger happy. So if you're going to, basically what happens is you've got these forts. I can't think of the name of the outposts, I think it is.
Yeah.
Like it was in the first one. And the idea is that if it's churning smoke, you go and take it over. And then when you take it over, you get rewards. You get ethanol, to power your prosperity, your base camp, basically. Which prosperity, for people who played the first game, was one of the brothers' camps. I can't think which one it was now, but it's one of the brothers' camps you take over, like his very posh house. And but what I really liked, and I've done it twice now, but I think I'm going to save it, is that what you do is when you take over an outpost, you get rewarded ethanol, and you get rewarded things that you can trade in for ammo and build your guns. But then what you could do is you could salvage. So you could basically reset the outpost. It then takes it up to the next level.
Yeah.
And then you take it back again. So you get more ethanol. You get more ethanol for saying, "Look, I want to try and take it back." And then when you take it back, you get more rewards again. So there's actually, I'm thinking, once I finish the game, I'll go back and retake these outposts back again and get more rewards.
Yes.
But what I found with the sort of like your the guys who run along with you is they could be very trigger happy. So you're trying to sneak up to an outpost, take it over.
Yeah.
Hank, who's one of the characters, just launches a rocket straight into the camp and blows everybody up. And all of a sudden the alarms are going off, and I'm trying to do it stealthily so I get more rewards. So what I found I'm doing now is I'm thinking about what I'm sending in. So as I'm getting close to an outpost, I'm going, okay, I send an animal in. So if I send I can't think of the dog in. If I send Timber, in, he'll walk in and bring up everybody that's in the camp and make them highlight the same as if you'd seen them with your binoculars.
Yeah.
Then if I want to cause a distraction, I send my pig in, who starts to sort of attack people, but I send him in.
You have an
when I'm
attack
close.
pig?
Yeah, I've got an attack pig. He's like I think he's a big warthog or something like that. But yeah, you send him in and you send him to attack a character, and they all then focus on him, and you can sneak around the back and disable the alarm.
So cool.
And then once you're in mid-battle, you then get rid of him and bring in one of your other people, and then they help you kill everybody.
Wow.
There's lots of tactics to it, but yeah, I'm loving it. It's a brilliant game.
So have you finished it now? Have you finished the main story, or you still got more to go?
No, I've still got more to go. I've still got about 2 outposts to do and about 2 storylines. But again, I think because of that completion side of it, as you go along, you unlock maps, or you can buy maps for in-game currency, not real money. Well, you can. Technically, you could buy real money and do it if you wanted to. But you can, you come across an old deserted cottage, and in there you've got 3 rolls of duct tape, and you have to find those 3 rolls of duct tape. And when you find those 3 reels of duct tape, there's a tick that ticks up and says you've completed that little mission or that little house.
Yeah.
So you do find yourself doing that. Then, like the first game, they have the little diamond shapes, which basically there's a little bit of a storyline about it, and you're trying to get into a bunker again, but it's a bunker you went into before, so you can remember from the original game how you can get into it, but you can't get into it that way again.
Oh, no.
There's a new way of getting into it, so you have to find the letter, read the letter, work out from the letter what they mean. So that letter can be the highwaymen, as the protagonists are called. You're not getting into my stash, so I fed the key to the pig. You've got to find which pig has got the key.
Oh my goodness!
Kill it. Kill the pig.
What?
Kill the pig. Unfortunately, it's the only way you can get a key out of a pig. Apparently, you kill the pig and then you get the key back.
Wow.
It's just little things like that. Do supply drops. So every now and again, you'll get a thing come up, which there's a supply drop, and you'll see a plane go across the sky, and it'll randomly drop a crate in the middle of a field. And you've got to rush. You've got to rush there before the highwaymen get there, and get the reward. So no, I'm taking my time, but because Daz used to say with some of the games he used to play, he doesn't want to ruin it by getting to the end too quickly.
Yeah.
Because he's really enjoying it, and I think I'm the same. I'm enjoying it so much that I don't want to finish it, but then there's so much out there to play at the moment that I do want to finish it. So it's that difficult place at the moment.
Yes, it's a countdown to the Division 2 as well. So you've got a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You have to hardline it. But it's always, like I say, it's great. It's a game that's not going anywhere. So you can always just kind of jump back in, can't you? You can just kind of jump back in and have a play and stuff like that. So yeah, no, that just sounds so cool. It makes me want to pick it up. It sounds like it could be a really good game.
It is. It's a visual feast for your TV. It's a proper game, so I think that the fact they're using the map is actually really good. It's a brilliant idea because I think that it really does introduce some elements of reward, really, for the original players of Far Cry 5. But it's a great little game on its own, so I really would recommend picking it up. And as I say, if it one day comes to Game Pass, or if it basically one day just comes up cheaper, then definitely jump in or boomerang it and have a play. So that's me. What about yourself? You've got rather a long list on there.
I do indeed. I've got a couple of titles on there. Crackdown 3. So Nicola and I finished Crackdown 3 on Sunday. I want to say Sunday. Yes, we finished Crackdown 3 on Sunday. Unfortunately, kind of like last time we were podding, James and I, we were talking about kind of, there was orb collecting, and we were very much kind of in the euphoria of your orb collecting. However, it kind of, over the last kind of week of playing Crackdown, it turned into just a clunky, frustrating mess, and it was great, and we enjoyed it, and Nicola and I just kept playing it because it's Crackdown. We kept saying, because it's Crackdown, we just enjoyed it so much. But I think it may be the online code of Crackdown 3 has a lot to be desired. So we would go into a place, we would trigger a lift, and the lift wouldn't trigger, or maybe it would go up and then you would judder the entire way, or it would stop and we'd had to restart and go back. The amount of times that you would go spend about half an hour, 45 minutes going through a stronghold, and then you had to then restart because a lift wouldn't trigger, or a door wouldn't open, or something like that. And it was just, I just, at the end of it, Nicola and I just kept going, oh, come on, Crackdown, you could do, because we love the game so much, we really enjoyed that orb collecting, and I'm sure that Crackdown 1 and 2 were a lot smoother. Everything was like when you were kind of powering up, you were just jumping over the buildings. I'm sure it was a lot smoother. But it got to the end, so when we had to kind of, we played it about 3 times on Sunday. We just kept kind of like stopping for dinner and things like that. And it got to the end where I just said to Lico, I said, because Nicola being a completionist, she wanted to go round and get everything. So I just said, what we'll do is we'll get all of the mini bosses and then we'll go to the middle, because I couldn't play that game anymore. It was so frustratingly clunky, and I was just and it just doesn't make sense, you know. And as James and I were talking, you know, the 5 years this game's been in development is not, this game that we were playing hasn't been in development for 5 years, but it just seemed so untested, and it breaks my heart to have to say that, you know, I finished this game, and I think I tweeted about it on Sunday. You know, it was one of the first games that I've played where I finished the game and I was genuinely just relieved that I finished this game. You know, I was just genuinely like, I'm so glad that I never have to go back into Crackdown 3 again, you know, and we just finished it because, again, I was enjoying playing co-op with Nicola, so we were enjoying doing that. I was laughing at her orb collecting, you know, because still I'd be kind of fighting someone and she'd just be off collecting orbs, and it was just fun. I was just like, right, I'm engaging, and then suddenly I'd look at her screen and she was just like just taking out orbs and just collecting orbs and jumping all over places. But it just got to the point where it just got so frustrating, you know. And there was a couple of nice battles at the end, and it really was this love frustration kind of throughout the entire end part of that game. And like I say, the fact that we had to restart, I think at one point we even had to restart Nicola's Xbox just to kind of get us to where we were, because it wouldn't set up a co-op game, you know. And I jumped in Monday after work just to see what it was like on single player. And it seemed a lot smoother. I don't know about the bugs that we came across, but it seemed a lot smoother. So I don't know if it was just because of the net code of this game was just a little bit kind of clunky and not well tested, or just it was just bad. But it just definitely, I think if you're going to play Crackdown 3, I think my suggestion would be try to play it locally on your own, rather than, because I mean our Xboxes are a shelf away from each other, so not that matters when you're playing online, because it's got to go to space. But if you're going to play it, I would say do it single player. And at one point we were going to do that. At one point we were going to say, look, we've got 2 more bosses to take down, let's just do it single player, you know, let's just do our own games, because it got that frustrating, and it was just such a shame. It was really a shame.
I'd heard it. I mean, it's one of those ones where I downloaded it. I think we actually, to be honest, I think it downloaded on its own. I don't know. I must have pressed a button at some point because I noticed it was downloading one day. I turned the Xbox on.
You probably because it was pre-downloadable ages ago. You know, there was like a 200 meg file, I think, kind of like last year for it.
I've probably been sitting in a car park somewhere waiting for a client to come, and I've just gone on my phone on their great app and just got download that sort of thing.
What's new? What's new? And then
I keep on meaning to jump into it, but I'd heard the same. I'd heard that single player is okay. It seems to be okay, a little bit glitchy, but you know the multiplayer just, you know, seems to be very glitchy, and a lot of people are sort of saying, you know, there's not much substance to it. I heard on a podcast I was listening to today saying there's nothing to draw you back. You know, you don't get a special weapon for playing for 10 hours, or there's nothing that's making you, you know. I suppose if I take it back to Far Cry, you're constantly unlocking things. You're unlocking better guns, more explosives. You're unlocking new characters. You feel like you're progressing and getting somewhere. You're getting stronger as a character. And I suppose when you look at the sports side of it, when you look at the multiplayer side of games, that people want that reward. You know, for playing for so long, you get access to that new area, or you get access to that new weapon, and you're not buying it from a loot crate. You're buying it from grinding. And I just think people are just like, I think it was Ryan McCaffrey said, you know, he played it a little bit and then was just like, yeah, it's okay, it's a bit glitchy. I've done it because I wanted to see what it's like, but it's not pulling me to go back to play online, which obviously I know with you guys played a lot of Division, it was constantly pulling you guys to go back in and play it, the same way as playing Forza, it was pulling you back into play it.
Yeah, like I say, I mean, I haven't even touched the multiplayer. I've just been trying to go through that campaign, and you know, getting all the orbs. We were over level 5. You know, that meant we can kind of do a double jump. That meant we can do. So we were kind of feeling a little bit better towards the end. But it's just the fact that, you know, if there are certain spots, especially towards the end, where you have to scale very tall buildings. The game feels very tall, as it's not, the map doesn't feel as wide as previous maps, but it's definitely taller. And so and at one point, like, Nicola and I kind of jumped and we landed on a ledge together, and the collision was so bad that I just bounced off of Nicola. Now, I know she had more agility and more, but I just bounced off of Nicola, and then I fell all the way to the bottom. So I then had to...
It's all those orbs she had in her
Exactly.
Pocket.
So I then fell all the way to the bottom. So she was already at the top and triggered the kind of cutscene to go into the next battle. Oh. And I then spent like the last frustratingly kind of angrily jumping up this building. And by the time I got to the top, she'd done it. You know, and it was just so annoying. You know, it was just so disappointing. I think disappointing is the right word. It was just we were having a blast at the start, but when we kind of realised that it was just clunky, and like I say, we were playing it, and there was a patch, because I said to Nicola at one point, I said, like, let's leave it, we'll wait for a patch, and a patch came out, but the game's just fundamentally just kind of broken. So my recommendation, if you want to play Crackdown, if you do like a bit of Crackdown, play the original. No, if you want to play Crackdown 3, probably play it locally rather than kind of trying to play co-op online. You know, just play it single player, and you might have a better time, because, you know, running, gunning, blowing stuff up and collecting orbs is fun. It's just not fun when it's glitching out. So it was just a bit weird.
And I suppose obviously, you know, Microsoft are Microsoft are very keen on getting people onto Game Pass. So I think if you want to try it, you know, and obviously Sea of Thieves and a few others, I know they're doing, you know, 2 months for £2 or something like that. They always seem to do it. So you know, jump in. You know, I hate to say it, jump in, but just don't forget that to cancel it if you're not enjoying it.
Yeah.
Try it out, see what it's like. I mean, you know, couple of quid is not going to take you much. I mean, I love my Game Pass. Yeah. I know over Christmas all of the fellow Sparks downloaded something they probably wouldn't normally have played because of Game Pass. So I think it's just a shame that something that was hyped so much and that was supposed to be a system seller in inverted commas, you know, is it's not getting bad. I mean, it's getting mediocre score. So they're not saying it's not bad. They're not saying it's bad, but it's not good, and it's a little bit underwhelming, which is disappointing.
Absolutely. You know, for me, you know, Crackdown 1, and also Nicola and I were talking, even Crackdown 2, you know, these were tentpole chess and games. You know, they were games where we were genuinely excited about Crackdown 3. It was in the diary and everything. You know, we were genuinely excited about it. But, you know, when we finished it on Sunday, there was just a sense of relief. But, you know, positives out of Game Pass. Another game that I've played over the last couple of weeks when I was sick out from under my duvet was a game called Headlander. Now, Headlander...
Segway.
Yeah, exactly. See, I just did it lovingly. He spoiled it, James. He spoiled it. And so I was playing Headlander. So Headlander's a game, it's kind of by Double Fine, so it's developed by Double Fine Games. So Tim Schafer's Double Fine. And it basically takes place, it's almost like a bit like a Logan's Run. It's like a 1970s sci-fi TV show. You know, it's amazing because you can kind of play it, and so you start and it kind of narrates it, kind of it sets the scene, and then you go in there and they're like, right, do you want to choose your character? Do you want to look like this? And it was a guy. Or do you want to look like this? And it was a woman. And it was just them in like an astronaut's helmet. And so you choose your character, and then it kind of pulls away, and that's all you are. You're just a head in like an astronaut's helmet. And so, but your head has jetpacks, and you can then kind of jetpack around, and you get more and more abilities. And it turns into a very much kind of a metroidvania style game where there are puzzles, so you need to be able to kind of get to a door that you can only unlock by being an orange robot, and what you can then do is you can then either as another robot shoot at them, or as just a floating head, you can pull the head off of a robot and plonk your head on it, and now you have full connectivity of the robot, and it's absolutely fantastic. I just sat there loved the music, loved the art style, and the puzzles as well. Because you were kind of like, okay, right, I've been everywhere I need to go. You have a look at the map and go, right, I've got to get to all of those antennae, and I've got to kind of level them or point them in the right direction. And you realise that okay, I've got to go through that door, and it's just such a great metroidvania kind of style game where you do the puzzles are, no, I wouldn't say easy, but when you start playing it for a certain while, it all starts to click and the world really starts to click. And I just really enjoyed the time with it. So the NPCs are quite funny. The AI kind of, they will just keep spawning as well. So you can't just get to a room and just clear out them. They will continue to kind of warp in and just kind of take you out with very 70s sounding laser guns. And it's just really good. I really enjoyed my time in it. I haven't finished it. I've still got a little bit more to play, but it's just great fun. And it's Headlander, and it's free on Game Pass now.
I am on my iOS device as we are speaking on the Game Pass app and downloading it, so I'll have to give that one a go.
It's very good.
Thanks for the heads up on that one.
Yeah, literally, because your head goes up.
Yeah, segue.
Episode title. Thanks for the heads up. And then the other games I've been playing Anthem. So I jumped into the 10-hour EA Access Anthem trial, I guess it is, for 10 hours. So I was playing a bit of Anthem. It was at the start of my illness, so I didn't have a big threshold for monotony. So I think I played it out of the 10 hours. I think I played it for about 4 or 5 hours, and just kind of had a bit of a play. And and I can see why some people are loving it. I can see why some people are hating it. I'm on the middle. I'm on the fence on this one because it looks like a good game, but I think Destiny does it better. I enjoy the flying around as like Iron Man. And kind of enjoyed some of the missions I was doing. I quite liked it when it opens up and you start becoming kind of a bit of a single player, and then you can go and do these kind of almost little kind of daily kind of grinds that you can do. Like I say, I can see why some people are kind of getting into it, and why some people it's really kind of ticking some boxes for some people. But I just decided that I might jump in again, just because got a bit of a lull before Division 2 comes out. I might jump in again like over the weekend and just check it out. But I think, like I say, I was enjoying the single player. I think one of the problems I did have with the multiplayer was the moment you start in a multiplayer game, you're in with, especially as I wasn't playing with a group of friends or anything, I was just playing with a group of randos, and everybody's racing off to get to the objective, to finish that level. No one's kind of taking their time to enjoy the world. If it was like me, you, James, Manny, Matt, Steve, we would be going, oh, come over here, have a look at this, do this. Oh, guys, you need to kind of activate this. But instead, you just got 3 other people that are not on mic, and I wasn't on mic either. I had my headphones on, but I wasn't on mic because I was sore throat, but everyone was just racing off. So you were just constantly seeing that screen that basically said that it was almost rubber banding you to your teammates. So it was saying you're too far away from your teammates, and it was like pushing you forward. So because I was just flying around, getting used to the guns and figuring out that, and I wasn't just pushing on and flying on with these guys, I just kind of kept getting that message pop up to just basically say, no, we're going to push you forward, and then they took me to another place and I didn't know how I got there. So
Oh, really?
So playing with randos, not on. I'm sure if I was on mic and we had a group of people and going, right, okay, let's do this, let's go over here, let's do that, or a group of friends, I'm sure that game kind of improves. But with a group of randos, it was a bit of a strange one.
We'd spend 3 hours trying to get a Robin Reliant to jump off a ramp.
Yeah, exactly.
At a certain speed, yeah, I mean, I jumped in.
Or star jumping in Division, in the original Division. I spent an hour just star jumping so Matt could take a picture of me doing it. It's just like so.
I'm so glad I was washing my hair that night. I mean, yeah, I played the private beta, and I played the VIP access or whatever they called it. So I played it the 2 weekends that it came out, and yeah, I quite enjoyed it. But again, it was one of those things that you're with a load of randos. I'm sort of wandering around trying to pick up bits and pieces, and then the other guys were over there fighting someone else. And I'm like, well, hold on a second, there's people over there that we're supposed to be fighting. Surely you go that way before you go that way. And again, I'd heard on the grapevine, a few people have said, go in and go into settings and go and play on your own, and then you can, spend more time. It does get challenging, so I'm sure Nicola would like it. It does get challenging in respects of the game is set up as a premise of there's like 4 of you fighting a particular boss or particular character. So when you're doing it on your own, it's a bit more challenging.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard anybody say it's impossible to do it like that. So I mean, is the 10-hour still going? Is that an ongoing?
Oh yeah,
thing?
that's EA access. So I could, I've
okay.
done, like I say, I've done 4 hours, and so when you go in, it says you have 6 hours left. So I can go back in and do a bit of that. So I don't. Sometimes with that 10 hours, they normally kind of do like with Battlefield or something like that. You can only do 2 or 3 levels of the single player, but you can play as much multiplayer as you want. Where this one just seems to be just kind of going into it and kind of doing whatever you need to do. But like I say, it felt great, that you still can't beat that kind of running, jumping, hitting down on the left thumbstick and being Iron Man. That felt incredible.
That feels awesome.
It feels great.
That was up there with, again, another one of my my pile of shame. That for me, that feels as good as catching the axe in God of War.
Yeah.
That feeling you sort of got in your palm of your hand. So yeah, when I realised that how you actually jump in it often properly, and then you're flying like Iron Man, spot on. You get that rumble, you get that almost like that talky throwback that as you press the button, it's almost like your hands, they're not, but they're almost like going back on you, like you've gone off on a car at 100 miles an hour. So I think the same. I haven't touched the 10-hour free. There's a few times I was thinking about jumping in, but I think I'll find a day somewhere and I'll sit down and do the 10 hours in one hit, or I'll do like over a weekend, a few hours here, a few hours there, just to see what it's like, because I did like it. I did like the look of it, but there's just a lot of games, like your next game, which are coming out, and I think are going to steal its thunder.
Absolutely, I think you're absolutely spot on. I think the Division 2, which was I kind of jumped into the open beta this weekend. So I played the closed beta a couple of weekends before. So I had a bit of a go online. I think there was 4 of us kind of jumped into a match. So we had a good game there, and that felt like you were back playing the Division, and that felt lovely. So I jumped into the public beta just to have a look around, just to see if anything's improved. And, and it may just me be sitting there kind of wowing at the loveliness that is Division 2, but I kind of feel that it visually improved. I think there was like more stuff in the world, there was like more clutter, there was more around, and it just looked better than it did the previous week. And that may be a build that's moved on, who knows. It may just be me seeing it through Division goggles that are free with DLC. No, I would say no. I
didn't put it in the news, but apparently there was a petition going around because they said the dogs look really sad in it.
Oh right,
and they want to be able to pet the dogs.
Oh right, or shoot them.
Like you can in Far Cry, or shoot them. Yeah, they were said about. So yeah, they want to be able to pet the dogs. But anyway, we digress.
But no, it was really good. So I jumped in at the weekend, and I think I just played the opening mission again. Which is the theatre. I think it was the Washington Theatre. So I just kind of went to the White House, kind of just familiarised myself again with that kind of setup, and then did a mission, and then just kind of played that. And then I was like, right, I'm done. I don't want to go to any of the end game on this beta. Don't want to go to the dark zone. I thought I'll just kind of leave it as it is, and I'll kind of pick up the rest when we kind of get in proper on the 15th of March. So, which is quite cool. But I just really enjoy that game. There's something that's very satisfying about the shooting mechanic, the guns, everything about the Division. And there was, I think it was Manny, Matt, myself, and another one of our friends kind of like jumped in, and I think it was Rob. I think Rob was the first one, and we just had a really good time together, and it just felt like we're back to playing the Division. We're back to kind of having that kind of those missions again, and I cannot wait now for the 15th. And so it's just it's only a couple of weeks away, a week and change away. I think it's not this Friday, it's next Friday as we're podding. So I'm just so excited. I can't wait. Can't wait.
So it's obviously you've got to be mic'd up. So it's Is it a game you think you could play with randos, or is it obviously it's much better with mates? But can you, for someone who hasn't got any friends, can you just jump in and be selected with randos, and it would still be fun even if they weren't mic'd up?
Oh, absolutely. I think when I played the original Division, you can easily kind of just jump in and out with the kind of, because what it does a very much kind of like a Destiny thing where it will pull you guys together. I think some of the missions will be quite hard. I found the theatre level quite hard on my own. But eventually went round and kind of completed it, but I found it quite hard on my own. There's the Dark Zone as well, which is for big groups, and they're also kind of doing 8-player raids as well this time. So, so that's quite good for for us to get together as a big group and then kind of just like hoover up everyone and just kind of have a really good game. But I'm going to be playing a lot of Division, so if you ever need a hand with any missions, I'm going to be jumping in, so...
Well, I think to be honest, I might, because I never really played the first one. I think I jumped in every now and again,
right?
But I think it was one of those ones where on the WhatsApp group, you guys seemed to be so far ahead on levels and things like that I was just like, I don't feel I could jump in now and play, but I do. I do like the look of it, and I think I'll download. Are there many different boxes of it? Are there different versions? I'm assuming there's probably a £90 ones out there or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I think there is. There's the gold, platinum, and normal. I think it's like there's one that is there's the £50, £70, and £90. I think so. There's all of that. I mean, it's really cool because we did notice, I think it's kind of one of the features for this one, where they're dealing with that, where someone's jumping into a game and maybe they haven't played with as regularly, and what it does is it automatically brings you up to that level. So I think I've said before in the pod that I jumped in and played with a friend he was about 15 levels ahead of me in the original Division. He was like, "Oh, come with me, I'll level you up." And my entire game was just cowering behind something because I couldn't even pop my head up. Where what the Division 2 is going to do is it's going to automatically pull you up to the level that everybody else is, so you're not that kind of bullet sponge, or not even a bullet sponge, but you're not just like fodder for that high level bullets, and then so you can still play, and then you're just still getting XP, and then when you're kind of on your own, you'll then go back to that proper level. So I think they're doing some stuff to kind of change that and be able to make people. So you're not in that scenario where, because I think it's well documented on the pod where James, his broadband, he moved house during the Division last time, and his broadband was terrible. He tried tethering it to his phone once. Probably,
I remember that.
It cost him so much money. And that was all fun. But so by the time he got his broadband back up and running and he dug up the road, we were so far ahead that it was kind of, I don't think it was fun for him when he kind of jumped back in. But now, on the Division 2, it will kind of elevate you to that point. So, which is really cool.
I think my biggest criticism with some of the games that we're getting out at the moment is they're so focusing on the multiplayer side, but there are so many people out there who will they want a single player. So go back. I've heard that Call of Duty this year is being confirmed that it's going to get a single player back.
Yes,
which is brilliant because I did miss it last year, and I really enjoyed Battlefield, like I always do. And I think that Destiny I jumped into, Anthem I've jumped into, but I'm one of these people that I'll get home from work, but because I don't know when I'm going to get home from work, because I don't know whether I'm going to be in Tunbridge Wells or I don't know whether I'm going to be in Twickenham or somewhere else beginning with T. Teddington. There you go. I've done all the T's. I don't know where I'm going to be. Sometimes I can't say, look, I'll jump on at 8 o'clock because, I've had to do it on the pod a couple of times where I just can't get back in time. So it's good to see. It's good to hear that with Division 2 you'll be able to jump in and it will bring you up to that level. So you say you're not feeling like you're running around with a slingshot where everybody's got AK-47s.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, and hiding from bullets because one will just drop you. And like I say, that's what happened to me in the original Division. I popped my head up and I'll give you a hand, and then straight away I was just down. I'm like, I'm down again. So
it's like me in PUBG.
Yeah, exactly. So my mate was just like, just do me a favour, go and stand over there. And I was levelling up, which was lovely, but I wasn't shooting anything.
Go and pick me some flowers.
Yeah, exactly. I was just sitting there, star jumping in the corner, like a crazy man. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing.
Awesome.
So a nice selection over the last couple of weeks. So right, let's jump into the news. And don't forget, before we jump into news, you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes, Spotify, and also on YouTube. In the news section this week, Gearbox are teasing a reveal at PAX East. A sealed copy of Super Mario goes for a bonkers price, and also we have Star Wars news. Star Wars news.
Star Wars.
It's good that you're here, because if that was James, it'd be like, yay, we have Star Wars news. And superb. Right, the first piece of news is with you.
So I've got a question for you, Antony. So how much would you pay for a sealed copy of an original computer game? Depends whether you looked at this webpage or not.
I haven't looked at the link. Now, if it was Viva Pinata, maybe I'll play a lot. I don't know.
I saw this.
£100.
This comes off of Kotaku's website.
Yeah.
I saw this actually on my Apple news feed the other day, which was quite funny. But yeah, it basically a copy of a sealed copy of Super Mario Brothers. Went for the very small princely sum of, well, exactly $100,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it was actually $100,150 went for sale for just recently. Ironically, on Kotaku's website, next to it, this was the 14th of the 2nd. This one went up. There was one back in 2017 that sold for $30,000.
Wow.
But yeah, they were basically saying, as I read the article, this copy of Super Mario Brothers is the highest price paid for a video game.
Wow.
Which is what the experts in the field are saying today. The first run copy of the Nintendo Entertainment System game sold with a private transaction earlier this month for just over $100,000. The people involved in the deal say it's the first time a game has featured a six-figure sum.
Wow.
Basically, it looks like they're saying that the sale represents a huge jump over a similar copy that sold in 2017 for $30,000, which itself was a record price. The actual price difference comes down to a tiny sticker. So instead of it being shrink wrapped in plastic, the boxes containing the very first run of NES games produced in America were only sealed with a tiny black foil sticker over the top with the Nintendo logo on it.
Wow.
These were only sold for a very brief period during the NES rollout, whilst Nintendo were test marketing the console to see whether it would work. They were only releasing it in cities like New York and Los Angeles between 1985 and 1986. So the original console came with Duck Hunt and another game I can't see on here now. But Super Mario Brothers was sold separately. So yeah, basically these were, like hen's teeth, and they only came with this tiny little black sticker on it. So
wow.
Yeah. That's bonkers. Apparently, it was a collaboration. The sale was a collaboration between a few people. So I don't know who's going to get to hold the cup, who has it in their house on a Monday, a Tuesday, and a Wednesday. But yeah, it's bonkers. So if your mum and dad ever say there's no future in investing in computer games, just show them this. It might never happen again, and it certainly won't happen with something like Division 2. But
no.
Yeah,
exactly.
$100,000 for a computer game.
Get a copy of Division 2 and don't open it, and that will be.
Yeah.
So when was the game originally out? Did you say it was 86?
Yeah, it was 85, 86 was when they were test marketing it. So
Wow.
yeah, it must have been around about that sort of time that it was. It looked like they had a couple of games out whilst they were testing the NES in America, and you could buy the Super Mario Brothers as an additional game, and apparently the rest of the world, or the Japanese copies, were shrink wrapped. The official Nintendo copies were shrink wrapped, but the American copies were in a bag with just a little black sticker over the top of it.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, and it's originally in its cartridge. Originally sold for about $50.
Wow, never been played. Just sitting there. That's going to be framed. You would frame that.
Never going to be played.
Yeah, exactly.
Never going to be played. You know, you'd have to be a very rich person. Well, you wouldn't have to be very rich, but you'd have to be a very rich person to buy that and go, yes, I want to play this, and then rip it open.
And break the box at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, not only break that black seal, but actually rip the box as well. Oh.
It's like taking the original Luke Star Wars figure in the original Star Wars box and going, oh, I need to play with this, then just ripping that cover off the front, and the cardboard behind it shreds open into pieces everywhere.
I used to, you know, when I was like collecting Star Wars figures when I was young, I always wanted to get two, because I wanted the one I played with, and I wanted one to be pristine. I wish I'd had the foresight to do that, and, you know, just to kind of, and also, you know, stop my mum from selling all my Star Wars figures for £50 to the kid down the road.
I do. You said it. I did see someone who with Lego, they buy, like when the Firehouse was out, they bought two, and what they do is they buy one to build and to play with, in inverted commas, and then what they do is they put the other one inside a vac sack. Right. So they put it in one of the vac sacks where they suck all the air out of it. Yes. To enough that it doesn't crush it, and then they put that in the loft. Wow. And they literally, everyone, like the massive Millennium Falcon, the £600 one, they apparently do that, and they just hold on to them for, you know, 10, 15, 20 years and sell it when they can make a decent markup on it.
Yeah, I need to introduce you to my awesome brother-in-law. He has...
Oh, really?
Yeah, he has... so many. I think I'm not sure. I may be lying. Brad can correct me, but I think he has maybe two of those Millennium Falcons that are not opened. Really? Yeah, and the firehouses. Maybe he's got three. I think there's a room in his house that is just like Lego. Call him every now and then and say, "Can we have our kits back, please?" He has.
We've run out of a brick. Can we have this?
So many that he is basically stockpiling for an Armageddon. It's awesome. Honestly, I haven't seen it in its entirety, but every time I meet up with him, he kind of updates me of what he's been buying. And yes, he has. I think he might even have like a black VIP card. You know, he's just like, you know, he's just like, they're naming. He's opening the next shop. I think, you know, it's just like, though he's very much like that, and it's amazing. Yeah. Oh no,
there's just so much. I mean, I must admit, I actually unsubscribed from the Lego newsletters the other day because it was just becoming too tempting. Because like they just kept on pinging through with, you know, early access and all this lot, and it was just like, no, I don't need it. I just don't need that. Yeah, I don't need that. I want it, but I don't need it.
Oh no, absolutely. My brother-in-law, man, he's just got so much. He's so awesome. It's so cool. So the next piece of news is with me, and that is that Gearbox have been teasing some Borderlands news. So we have PAX East is coming up. So PAX East 2019 is coming up on the 28th of March, and Gearbox have been onto Twitter basically saying that they will be showing some never seen before reveals, exclusives, and also some surprises from the show. So they always have a big presence. I believe Borderlands was actually shown for the very first time at a PAX, I think it was PAX Prime when it was called back in the day. So 10 years ago, because it's been 10 years since the first Borderlands came out, 10 years ago they showed Borderlands at a PAX. So they're going back this year. They go back. Gearbox kind of go back a lot to PAX, and so they're going to be showing off some unseen game, unseen franchise. This is also kind of backed up by a tweet from 2K Games as well, that said that they are getting close to showing something from a beloved franchise. So this kind of all kind of points to, I can't wait for this, for Borderlands 3. I know that Gearbox are also working on a couple of other games. I think there's some other stuff in the Borderlands universe. But kind of, I have a feeling that this is going to be Game of the Year edition, which I believe was leaked. There was a leak from a Canadian Walmart or something. It's normally that way. But there was a Game of the Year edition for Xbox One X, because you can't get the original Borderlands on Xbox One. You can get 2 and the pre-sequel as part of the Handsome Jack collection, but 1 isn't available. So, 1 maybe with 4K, up-res, HDR, I'd definitely play that again, because that was such a great game. But yeah, so there could be that they're going to release Borderlands 3 or give us some details of Borderlands 3, because we know they're making it, because I think about 3 E3s ago they kind of announced that they're making it. They said, we're making Borderlands 3, and they invited people to come and work with them. Come and work with us, we're making this awesome game. So it's definitely been in the pipeline, but we just haven't heard anything about it since. So it seems like this would be a great first time to say, here's Borderlands 1, the Game of the Year edition, the 10th anniversary edition, and also here's a tease for Borderlands 3 with more information coming at E3.
And that would be great, because it's one of those games that I unfortunately never really sunk my teeth into. It was sort of out in the time where, although I still sort of had the consoles, I really wasn't playing them like I do now. Really wasn't enjoying the consoles. I was more into the TVs, the movies, and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I think I remember dipping into it and playing a bit of it, but I never really got my teeth into it. So actually, yeah, it would be great to be able to go back and catch up on the story, catch up on what happened before, like you can do with Halo Master Chief now. Yeah, I think it would be great. Yeah, I know it's a beloved series, and I think it would be a great addition. But yeah, it'd be nice to go back and play some of the originals again.
Yeah,
original.
I mean, before we came up to pod, I was just before I kind of sat down for dinner, I kind of fired up the Xbox. I just wanted to have a quick look to see if Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, if they were like 4K, if they'd had that bump, but they haven't. They're still appearing in that kind of normal tab. They're not the Xbox One X enhanced. But I fired up 2, and it looks good. It looks really good. That cell shading kind of lends itself well to the kind of X. But I was just thinking how amazing that would look even if you got a box of all 3 of them. How amazing it would look if it got a 4K bump. And I guess maybe not 4K, because Borderlands, like I said, it's 10 years ago. But if you were running Borderlands on a really good PC, you probably got a really kind of shiny version over there. But I'm hoping that maybe we get this year, that we get to see Borderlands 3 this year, or we get this remake or this re-release, and then we get Borderlands next year. But I can't wait for more Borderlands, because it's just so much fun. Again, it's one of those ones where it's fun just kind of jumping in and playing with friends. It's just really good, just all those guns and getting that kind of right feel. And the DLC and the extra content for Borderlands was always so much fun. You had Tiny Tina, they had like a Halloween, a horror one. They're always just so much fun. And I think Nicola and I just sunk so many hours into Borderlands 1 and 2, and also the pre-sequel as well.
Ah, brilliant! No, it'll be great, and look forward to it. I mean, I don't think it needs to, graphically better. I think going back to Master Chief Collection again. I mean, I know Steve did he play it and complete it all the way through? I know he was hitting it quite hard, but I know I jumped into like Halo 1, because Halo 1 was really, for me, was the first game that really got me playing that type of game. Before that, I wasn't really playing those type of shooter games, and I just love that. And I jumped back into it, Master Chief Collection game on Game Pass, and it was like, yeah, it was old, it was dated, but it was just really nice. And actually, if it just flows nicely, if it just looks shinier, and it's just using the increased power we have now in the consoles, then brilliant. Yeah. Bring it out. Let some people like myself who haven't experienced the original stuff and now can't get the original stuff unless you find an original copy on the original console. Bring it back out. Let's have some playing and get ready for the new one. Yeah,
absolutely. Like I say, I reckon if they could just do that, because you're right. It's been 10 years since Borderlands. I don't know when Borderlands 2 came out. I think it was about 3 years after that. So there's a whole generation of gamers that maybe haven't seen the gorgeous shell-shaded wonder that is Borderlands. So, like I say, that's all happening at PAX East, a couple of weeks away. It's the 28th of March, so towards the end of March. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that.
Excellent.
Stu, the next piece of news is with you.
Yes, actually going back to Anthem, I picked up this. I heard this on the grapevine, but the headline is EA admits Anthem is crashing some PS4 systems. So I'd heard that there was a Reddit thread that basically people were saying that it was bricking their consoles, or they're having trouble restarting their consoles once it crashed. But this again came from Kotaku, day's date on it, and it's over the past few days we've seen PS4 users around the world starting to report Anthem, EA and BioWare's multiplayer shooter, was crashing or shutting down their PS4 consoles. Initially, reports for the system's crashes were not responded to and not commented on by EA, but now EA have finally acknowledged the issue. Anthem has not had a smooth launch, problems including confusion over multiplayer release dates for users, paid access for early users, and PlayStation 4 crashes have been rife over the last few weeks. And then they've got a copy of a tweet from at EA Help, which basically was yesterday at 11 PM. I would imagine it was a UK site, so I would imagine that was UK. We're aware of crashing issues that some of you have been reporting for the Anthem game. We're investigating and ask you to share your crash reports when prompted, and we'll be reaching out to gather more information. If not, please reply to this thread, and then they give answers.ea.com thread.
Wow.
So yeah, it looks like it's just, I don't know. I haven't heard anything happening on PC or Xbox, so there's obviously some compatibility issue with the PlayStation.
So it's actually just like resetting the PlayStation as if you just like had a power cut or pulled out the plug or something like that.
I think it's going, Sony, they like to be courteous, so they're going one step further than Microsoft. So where, Crackdown 3 was crashing your console, or you had to physically get up and turn it off. I think EA are obviously helping Sony by actually doing that for you. Apparently, it's just, you can't turn it back on again afterwards. So yeah, I mean, I'd heard this article, not a long article, seems to... It's basically crashing. It's shutting down the console.
Right.
So I think then people are just restarting it. But I had... it says here, at the time of writing, around 550 people have left posts about this issue on EA's official support page. So, I mean, okay, 550 is a lot of people, but considering how many this is probably sold, that's not an insignificant amount, but it's not a huge amount. But I had heard that some people were saying that it had switched off the console and they were having to hard reset it, and then it still wasn't coming back on. So they'd have to hard reset it again, and they would be spending 5 or 10 minutes getting it up and running. But again, that's just what I heard on some of the Reddit pages, not what officially has come out of EA's Twitter feed or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, they'll solve it, but it just boils down to that fact of the... I don't know, it's so many games now seem to come out that like they're not completed. They've had a development cycle of 3 or 5 years, and I know that we're dealing with massive servers and massive user base now, but every game seems to have a day one patch or something like that. And it's just a shame that if it's affecting the hardware, that's really annoying because you have to stand up and sort it out.
Yeah, absolutely. It must be really hard to review. I mean, we're lucky that we just kind of talk hands-on impressions of games, but to review a game kind of like Anthem, because if you reviewed it before it came out and before you got the day one patch, when you were playing the EA Access or the PC version and you didn't have that day one patch, and even now with the glitches that it's got, I heard someone I heard on a podcast had played it, but they didn't see the credits because they weren't the main person in the game, so the credits didn't roll for them even though they got to the end point of the game.
Really?
So it's things like that. It's like, how do you, with all of these problems that you've got, how do you review a game like that now? And do you go back and readjust your score 3 months later when the patch has been applied? So you imagine like Anthem in May, June, is probably going to be a completely different beast to what it is now, similar to Destiny, similar to kind of the Division when it comes out, probably. It's going to be better, it's going to have patches upon patches upon patches. If you're a site that reviews, do you go back and readjust that review?
Well, I know from two what spring to mind, I know on the first point you said, I think it was Greg Miller at IGN, and Greg Miller at Kind of Funny. He said that he put out something about Tomb Raider. I think it's the last Tomb Raider.
Right.
About he got to play early, and then he put something out. Obviously, they don't review, but he sort of put his opinion out, saying that it's a shame that this wasn't right. But he'd missed at the end of the documentation that there was going to be a day one patch.
Right.
So obviously, if he was going to review that would have affected his review. But I know that listening to one of the IGN podcasts, I know that I think their view is that they will review it when it comes out or they get their copy of it, but they're not going to go back and adjust it and change the score, because it's like, that's the game when it came out, and that's the review it gets. If they, you can imagine, it doubles everybody's workload, and when do you then re-review it? Do you re-review it after a couple of months, 6 months, 12 months? Do you review it every 6 months? And you just can't do that. You just don't have the manpower to do that in this day and age. So I think their point of view is it gets rated when it's released. If it's not up to standard, then that's the fault of for being released. But then you flip that over and you feel sorry for the studios, or you feel, because quite often it's the studio making it is being pushed by the publisher to get it out, because it's already been delayed. So it's that whole, they can afford to lose money, the studio can't afford to lose money. If it gets rated badly, who comes off worse out of it? So I think we're pushed so much for content these days, whatever we do, people are just content hungry, that they just want it now, quickly now.
Yeah. It's not like that with a movie. You don't kind of get a movie coming out and then 6 months later they kind of readjust it. Some movies you wish they had to. But Star Wars episode 8. It's just, but there are like I say, Anthem in a couple of months' time will probably be different. Destiny, when Destiny first came out to when it kind of had its the Forsaken King or the Taken King, that was completely different. It changed the game fundamentally. Yeah. And with games of service and when they're kind of bringing this stuff out, if you're not well versed in the gaming environment and you go, right, okay, in June you go, some friends have been talking about Anthem, I'll give a quick Anthem review. IGN's up there and it's giving it a 7, but now they've kind of improved it and it really should be maybe a 10, or like, if 10 it's never going to be a 10, it's going to be an 8.5 or whatever. It's just, that's never going to be reflected. So like, you're absolutely right. It's up to those people to kind of get out as good as they can day one, rather than going, don't worry, we'll fix it in the post. We'll fix it later. It should be that, because those sites aren't going anywhere, they need to make sure that day one is as best as day one can be.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know about you. I know you don't with movies, and I don't with movies, but I really don't read reviews.
No, I don't.
I just I listen to the podcast. I listen to what fellow Sparks are saying about it. I listen to what other podcasts are saying about it, and I sort of make an informed decision. Okay, sometimes that's been to my detriment. I'm never going to see the £95 I spent on Red Dead Redemption 2 back. And although I did enjoy it, don't get me wrong, the £95 for 4 hours 6 hours was well spent. But yeah, I think just think it's a case of, I don't know. I think you can use Twitch these days. You can see how people are playing it. You can see what the game's like. I just think it's just hard to make decisions, and I think that the way whether you look at reviews and read reviews, and then you know that people are going to write bad things about it, whether it's good or bad. You've only got to look at things on Twitter half the time. I just think you just need to make your informed decisions, and I think that's where sometimes sitting back and waiting for it to come down in price, or boomeranging it, or watching it on Twitch, getting a feel for it before you invest in it is rather than just buying it day one when you don't know it. I mean, Forza Horizon, for instance, I know pretty much all of us are day one, pre-orders. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
But I think that like some other people say that you don't really need to pre-order these days because you get it within a download. Of where you live, when it comes out. And I know I've had games which I've got come out on the Friday and I've got around to doing them till the Sunday, so I didn't really need it on day one. So
I don't know, there is something about me. I mean, I've always kind of been in a very much a pre-order person, whether it was kind of way back when with CDs, DVDs, kind of the whole Play and Amazon, and I still do it now. The other day I went on to Apple TV and I was like, right, Into the Spideyverse, I'm going to pre-order that, Aquaman, pre-order that, just kind of go through, and I quite like that little notification that pops up on your iPhone or your iPad and says like, Into the Spider-Verse is available now. There's something quite nice about that, and it's just quite nice having that kind of pre-order and almost kind of showing my support for those franchises or those movies or those games. So I'm still, even with Game Pass, I'm still kind of pre-ordering. I did it with The Division. I was like, right, I'm going to have that, digital kind of, I'll have that day one, type thing. And you're right, sometimes you don't get around to playing it, but there's still something inside of us, Stu, that just kind of needs to pre-order.
I agree. I mean, I pre-ordered Far Cry New Dawn as soon as it came up to pre-order because I knew I'd love it. You talk about movies. Yeah, I'll do movies. I pre-ordered Bohemian Rhapsody because I am a massive Queen fan. I got brought up with Queen with my mum and my dad, and I can remember I'd done a 12-hour round trip to Birmingham. And up to some of the other fellow Sparks to Birmingham, and I literally had left at something like 4 o'clock in the morning. I got back at 9 o'clock in the evening because this included seeing a client in London, and I was just going to bed at like midnight, and I was brushing my teeth, and my phone went ping. It's like, your pre-order of Bohemian Rhapsody is now available, and I just looked at my phone and went, oh no. But you really want because you want to turn it up loud and everybody in the house. You can watch it on headphones. No, it won't sound good on headphones. And I literally had this little devil, an angel, on my shoulder for a good 10 minutes whilst I was brushing. I don't brush my teeth for 10 minutes, but and I didn't watch it. But yeah, I agree with you. There are some things you will pre-order, but.
I think that's ingrained in me. I even get excited when movie tickets. I was harassing Showcase Cinema for Captain America, Captain Marvel tickets. I was like, come on, get them up on the X Plus, and then they just did 7 o'clock, and I was like, no, come on, do the rest. So there is something about. I mean, I used to love after E3, kind of going through Amazon, and when we were in a disk space world, going through Amazon, going pre-order, all the standouts from E3 and stuff like that. So it's just. Yeah, it's there, but you're right. With these games of service, it is sometimes that you kind of jump in a bit later, cheaper, a better experience from day one, and that's why I do like the EA Access trial as well, because you do get to kind of give these games a bit of a whirl.
Yeah, I do like that, and I think especially for Anthem, that's great. And talking about pre-orders, I mean, you've pre-ordered your EGX tickets today, haven't you?
I did indeed, yes. EGX is happening, and it's in London town.
Yay!
It's in London town, October. They've moved it to October. So I pre-ordered. Yeah, exactly. Got the early access for the Friday the 19th. Have you booked your tickets?
No, after just walking into my local Sainsbury's and WhatsApping you saying I'm booking them now, I completely forgot.
All right.
So once we finish this pod, I'm going to go in and get my tickets. Because I mean, hey, I could jump on a train, meet up with you in TW, we can go up together and nerd out. Do we know if any of the other fellow Sparks are coming down for this one, or do they not come down?
I think so far confirmed we have Manny. I think Matt is confirmed. James is on the fence, I think. I think James is going to be going. James will come. James loves it. He'll come. But I think Manny's booked. And so is Matt as well. So Manny and Matt have both booked. And then I sent James the Virgin Media, because you get half price if you're a Virgin Media customer.
Really?
So I sent him that link. So it looks like we'll just have to try and get Steve down as well.
Definitely, yeah, you can bring some homebrew.
So yes, it'll probably be ready by then. Absolutely. I will, as the train passes from yours to mine, I'll be there waiting with a Starbucks for you, sir.
I will drop you a text message as I'm getting on the train and let you know which carriage I will.
You're like, I'm at Wadhurst, get the coffees. Right. Superb. And then the next piece of news is with me, and that is Star Wars Celebration. Star Wars Celebration is happening. I can just feel James turning off right now. Star Wars Celebration is happening in April. So we've got Star Wars Celebration happening in April 13th in Chicago. It will be live streamed. They always kind of live stream their panel, as well as probably teasing the Mandalorian TV show, as well as probably showing the next season of Clone Wars, as well as we'll probably get a title for Star Wars 9. Respawn and EA have also revealed that Star Wars Jedi The Fallen Order is also going to be shown at Celebration Chicago. So this just, I just want to go. There's just so much around Star Wars right now. So Star Wars Celebration is in Chicago on the 13th of April. So they're going to be showing all of this content. So far, we're going to get a big episode 9 presence there, but Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which was the game that was teased during EA's press conference last year. So we had Vince Zampella, who runs Respawn, had a hat which was basically Star Wars Jedi. I think it might just have Star Wars Jedi or Fallen Order, and then he mentioned to the host that they were working on a Star Wars game. So they're going to, never seen before, we're going to get our first reveal. Now this game, if EA doesn't cancel it, is scheduled to come out at the end of this year. And even though I haven't seen any of it, it's potentially my game of the year. Because, unless they release a Batman game. Because this sounds so cool. So what it is, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, there was a few details that were given by EA and Respawn, and you play as a Padawan Jedi who survived Order 66, which was the command that the Emperor did, and it turned all of the clones into kind of stormtroopers, if you will, and then they just wiped out all of the Jedi. So you kind of feel that you're a Padawan, you've managed to escape this Order 66, and you're the only Jedi. At that point, you think you're the only Jedi. And so it's all around this. So all of this just it just fills me with so much joy that we're going to get a single-player Star Wars game. And also by Respawn as well, because Titanfall and Apex are just bloody awesome.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. £367 you can get a flight from London Heathrow.
Wow. Can you still get tickets to the Star Wars Celebration? That's the next thing.
I don't know.
That's the next thing we need to Google. Come on, Stu. Let's go.
You might have to steam up the window and just sort of look. Go dressed as Yoda, and they might let you in.
Oh my god.
But that's stupid. £350 for a ticket from Heathrow.
That's not too bad.
You might have to sleep on a park bench, or just literally go there, turn around, and come back again. So
there's no sleep. There's no sleep, and I bet as well as I was saying, Mandalorian, the TV show that's going to be on Disney Plus, and also Clone Wars. We're going to get all of that information, and they'll probably be showing more information about Star Wars Edge of the Galaxy's Edge, which is the new theme parks that's opening in LA and Florida this year. That's not bad. So an adult ticket, they've only got Monday available now, is $75. That's not too bad.
Oh, that's all right. It's all right. So £400 you'll get there. You just got to get back somehow.
Oh, look at that. Thursday,
£100 on food.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday have all sold out. Oh my God.
Sorry, Nicola, I put a thought in his head now. So we know where you're going on holiday next year. You're going to Florida, aren't you? That's a definite one. I know. Go on, carry on.
No, go on, after you.
And I just think that I have mixed feeling about the Star Wars as it is at the moment. I'm glad that Disney's got it in a way, but I just don't want them to over pump it too much. I quite liked Episode 8. I thought it was all right. I didn't think it was that bad. It would have been interesting to see which way it would have gone if they had done, if the original people had done it all the way, because Didn't they do Into the Spider-Verse, didn't they?
No. J.J.
No.
Abrams did the Force Awakens, and then J.J. had to step away for episode 8. Yeah, so
but wasn't it the original director of Episode 8? He recently did a. Or was it the original? Or was it
the guy who wrote and directed Episode 8 was Rian Johnson. So he was the one who kind of, and he's actually going to do another trilogy after 9. He's going to do another trilogy. It's just it pains me because it's a good movie. It's got some good bits in it, but it also has some things that really just harps back to kind of the ones that George Lucas did. The 1, 2, and 3. Episodes 1, the prequels. So, but the Force Awakens, I just think Force Awakens, even now, is just such an amazing movie. Lawrence Kasdan, who wrote Empire Strikes Back, was the part of the writing team along with JJ. And I just really do feel that they should have just let JJ Abrams do the whole trilogy rather than kind of give Rian Johnson the bit in the middle. What they should have done was made us wait, because JJ was committed to other projects. So they should have just said, sorry, you're getting this one, and then 3 years' time, like I had to do when I was watching in between Star Wars, Empire, and Return of the Jedi, there was 3 years. And I had to patiently wait as a young whippersnapper in the East End of London. So I had to wait, and so they should have just said, no, sorry, you've got to wait, and wait for JJ to do it. Now, JJ's back doing Episode 9. And the reports that I'm hearing from Kevin Smith was on set was that this is just amazing. This was just And
is that December this year?
It is. Yes.
December. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I think that I really enjoyed Solo. And actually,
Solo was good. Yeah.
And actually, digressing slightly, I watched BBC Click, the technology show. They were looking at the contenders for best visual effects, and they spoke to they spoke to the studio, International Light and Magic, isn't it?
Yeah.
They basically the scene, the train sort of like sabotage scene around the side of the mountain. Mm-hmm. They were showing you how they did it and how they used an actual mountain, then CGI'd around it,
right,
and then they were saying that most people thought the explosion was CGI, but actually the explosion was real.
Wow.
There's apparently a guy who does YouTube videos of really slow motion explosions and things happening, and they basically detonated this explosion in a fish tank.
Wow.
At super slow mo.
Yeah.
Then they magnified it and played it back. So actually, when you watch the film, the center mountain is real. All the other mountains around it aren't real,
right?
And the actual explosion is real, and then the CGI is taking away the non-real mountains. It's phenomenal to see how they did it.
I've got to watch that now.
I can't. I really enjoyed Solo, and actually, I think that there is a premise for the spin-offs there, and it's such a massive universe. I think that you can introduce characters that have not been into it and maybe have tied to another character in another way. Luke's second sister that he never realised he had. Little things like that. I think that there's such a massive premise, and I think the Clone Wars and some of the other tangents they want to go off on maybe have been more suitable than doing a Boba Fett or doing a Solo one, but I think just give us more Star Wars and then interject into that every 2 years or every 3 years a really good blockbuster original Star Wars film.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the one that really gets me excited is The Mandalorian. Which is going to be the TV show. Just because that. It's the pilot episode is directed by Jon Favreau. It's about a Mandalorian, so it looks like Boba Fett. It kind of, that for me is the dream as a kid. It's all around the First Order, so it's kind of linked into these new movies. And then the director chops around it. You've got David Filoni who basically directed all of the Clone Wars TV shows, which are amazing. And you've also got Taika Waititi, whatever that guy's name, who who directed, Thor Ragnarok and Hunt for the Wilder People, and and so you have some, as well as Jon Favreau doing it, directing the pilot, you have some really good directors thrown into this TV show, and it's also going to be launching that Disney Plus, so a lot of time, effort, and money is being shoved into that. So for me, I mean, for me personally, there isn't a such thing as Star Wars fatigue. For someone who reads the books, reads the comic books, enjoys the games, and would watch movies every day, and would watch Star Wars every day, I don't think, I can't. I'm never going to be kind of too saturated by it. And I'm with you. I'd love to see some more spin-offs. I really enjoyed Rogue One. Was amazing. Rogue One was an incredible movie, and Solo was a great movie. It was a really good movie, and the more I watch that, the more I enjoy Solo. I said to Nicola, this year, May the 4th is on a Saturday, so I'm already thinking about maybe, I was thinking that it would be really cool to kind of watch Solo and watch Rogue One, followed by Episode 4, followed maybe by Force Awakens, they'll just kind of mess around with the kind of timeline, even maybe the end of the Episode 3, and into Rogue One, and then into Episode 4, and it would just be pretty cool.
I'm going to say something now, and I think that this is where I wish that this podcast was a video podcast, because my immediate thoughts go to, let's do it at the Den Room.
Yes.
Let's have May the 4th at the Den Room. We could just bring a pile of Blu-rays down and just some pop. I'll let you have some popcorn, all right? As long as you hoover the carpet afterwards, you can bring some popcorn and we can geek out and have a Star Wars day.
That sounds awesome. I'll bring my little Dyson. I'll make sure I kind of tidy up after.
I've never seen him so smile so much on Skype. He's gone red and he's smiling.
But that's just how we could just absorb ourselves in Star Warsness. Yeah. That would just be so cool. Awesome. I'll keep you to that. Right.
On that note.
But before we go, quick bit of breaking news. I like breaking news. This is good. Rather than save it till last time. Windows Central, they've just put up a post. It just kind of, I'll come up on one of my alerts, is that Microsoft is reportedly launching a new Xbox One S without a disk drive next month. So Windows Central reports that Microsoft will unveil a new diskless Xbox One all-digital edition, it's called, with pre-orders expected to be available mid-April, and the new console is said to be available in stores in May, ahead of Microsoft's typical E3 show in June. Codenamed Xbox Maverick, the details of the diskless console appeared in November, and Microsoft has said that they were rumoured to be building this diskless console. So it was just quite interesting. It just popped up as we were chatting that I got this kind of so Xbox Maverick and Xbox One S all-digital edition could be available for pre-orders in mid-April with in stores in May.
Brilliant. I mean, I think that going back to what we were saying, a few pods ago about physical media. Yeah, I think that Microsoft are doing great things with Game Pass. I think people like you and me buy most of our games digitally, and if it's going to be cheaper, then they're brilliant. There's not really the only downside to it is if you want to really try something and get a disc, from
Boomerang
from a friend,
or something,
or from Boomerang or something like that, and chuck it in. But I think it'll just be interesting. I think it's got to be. I mean, I don't know what a 1S goes for these days. If it's only, I mean, the picture they've got here on Windows Central is basically Photoshop without a disk drive on it. It doesn't. I mean, okay, it needs to have processing power in it, but it'd be interesting to see how small they can get it. Can they make it smaller than the Xbox One X? I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
I'm just having a look on Amazon. Right now, a 1 terabyte Xbox One S Forza Horizon edition is £210. So if they can get that, kind of, 170, 150, 150 for an all digital version, chuck in some Game Pass.
Yeah.
You need a good 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte hard drive because of the amount of digital content you are going to be downloading because you can't stick a disc in. But yeah, absolutely. That sounds awesome.
Excellent. Oh, find your news here
Yes,
first.
yes, indeed. Well, it won't be by the time I post it.
I was going to say you've just got to cut and edit it now and get it up within the next hour.
Exactly.
Know what you're doing tonight.
I'm not going to sleep. And that's about it for this episode. So big thank you for listening, Stu. Big thank you for pulling up on mic.
Anytime, my friend.
Excellent stuff. Don't forget you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, we're at LostSparkPod. You can find us on YouTube and also Gamers of Lost Spark, PS4 Community and Xbox One Club. Stu, where can people catch up with you, sir?
You can get me on Xbox and sometimes on PSN as General Letdown or Mr. Stuart Burgess on Twitter.
Fantastic. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback or any questions for the Sparks, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Right, that's about it. Say goodbye, Stu.
Goodbye, I'm going to go and get some more controllers.
Yeah. See ya. Bye.
Bye.